Hello everyone, welcome to this feedback video for session 5. I hope you are doing really well at home during this quarantine. And in this video, I'm going to go over the answers for the exercises, and also I will be providing some commentary on the mistakes you made. Okay, so let's go to the worksheet. So in this first exercise, at the beginning of the class, you needed to guess the meaning of these 4 words, okay? Pioneer, reality show, handwriting, and stove. And then in the next exercise, you needed to look these words in a dictionary or the internet and find the exact definition, okay? So most of you had very good guesses about the meaning of these words. Pioneer was one of the most difficult words in these 4, but most of you had a really good idea of what the word might mean. So congratulations. Let's go over the exact definition and then we move on to the next activity. We say, okay? So pioneer is a person who goes to an area and builds a house, begins a farm for the first time, as some of you said, okay? Then we have reality show, a television program about ordinary people who are filmed in real situations, okay? Again, most of you were correct. Then we have handwriting, the particular way in which someone forms letters with a pen or pencil, okay? So it had to do with writing, it had to do with pen, pencil, and paper, okay? And finally, a stove, a piece of equipment that burns fuel or uses electricity in order to heat a place, okay? Again, most of you had these very good guesses for this word. Some of you wrote stufa, which was very close to the meaning of this word in this context, okay? So congratulations, let's move on to the next activity, okay? The next activity was reading the TV guide and completing this summary, okay? So I'm going to go over the answers and then I'm going to point out where in the text you could find these answers, okay? So let's start. Pioneer School is a reality TV show about pioneer life in American West in the 19th century, okay? These 2 answers were really close, okay? And they were right here. For the children of the pioneers who traveled to the American West, first answer, in the 19th century, okay? So you have those both answers right there. Then we have Sophia and Mason are 2 teenagers who go to pioneer school for a month or 1 month, okay? That information was here and here. The information about the time was right here. American Pioneer School for a month or 1 month, whatever you decided to write. And the participants right here. We interviewed Sophia and Mason. Excellent. And now for the last question, here I have to stop because I made a mistake in this question because I didn't include the piece of text that had the answer, okay? Some of you pointed it out to me and I realized that I didn't include the following piece of text. I'm going to show you, okay? So when I was creating this worksheet, I thought that this piece of text was not important for the activities. But some of you told me that it was, because from this square you have the answer for number 6. So I'm sorry, it was my mistakes, okay? Those of you who had the correct answer because you had the book, congratulations. Those of you who couldn't find the answer because you didn't have your books, I'm sorry, don't worry, it's fine. It was my mistake not including that piece of text, okay? But the answer was Frontier House. That was like the program that was similar to Pioneer School, okay? So let's go back to the worksheet. So Frontier House. Now we're going to move on to the questions, okay? First, I'm going to go over the answers and then I'm going to make some comments about some aspects of these tasks that you didn't do well, okay? So let's go over the answers. 1, when can we see the show? We can see the show next year, or you can say we will see the show next year, or also it will air next year. Any of those answers were fine. Number 2, what was the most difficult thing for Sophia? Okay, the most difficult thing for her was not having her cell phone, okay? Or the most difficult thing for Sofia was not having her cell phone. Both answers were correct. Number 3, what subjects didn't Sofia do well in? Okay, she didn't do well in English and history. Okay, here some of you didn't include the in, so you said she didn't do well English and history. Okay, that's incorrect. You need to add the in, because in what subjects didn't she do well? In what subjects? In English and history. Okay, so you needed the in that sentence. Very nice. Number 4, what did Sofia learn to do on the show? She learned how to cook. Excellent. Number 5, according to Mason, where was the warmest place to sit at the Pioneer School? Okay, so the warmest place to sit was at the front of the classroom. Okay, here some of you use in the front, but that's not quite correct. It is more correct to say at the front than in front in this context. Okay, number 7, what did Mason wear for his history presentation? So the clothes he wore on the show. Okay, you could also say he wore the clothes he wore in the show, but that's a more redundant sentence. Okay, so just writing the clothes he wore in the show was fine. Okay, now 2 things for this exercise. Thing number 1, okay, you need complete answers. We asked complete answers, and still some of you didn't send complete answers. Okay, we need a subject, verb, and a complement. Necesitamos respuestas completas para ver cómo ustedes forman estas oraciones que tengan todo, sujeto, verbo y lo que siga, el complemento. Okay, and the second thing is tense agreement between the question and the answer. Okay, sometimes the question was in the present or using can. For example, the number one was using can, and number 2 was in the past. But some of you wrote the answers in a different tense. For example, number 2, the question was in the past, you wrote the answer in the present. Okay, that cannot happen. If you have a question, okay, most questions that you will face while speaking English, if they are in one tense, you need to answer them in the tense that the question was formulated. Okay, so if it's in the past, the question is in the past, you need to answer in the past tense. If your question is in the present, you need to answer in the present tense. Okay, there are a few exceptions, but we will cover them later, not now. So for now, when you have one tense en una pregunta, you need to answer with the same tense. Okay, modo resumen, cuando ustedes vean la pregunta, si la pregunta está en un tiempo verbal, la respuesta tiene que estar en el mismo, no pueden estar cambiadas en diferentes tiempos verbales. Okay, that's it. But overall, you did really great. Your answers were really complete, and congratulations for that. Okay, so let's go to the listening and comprehension part of this session. Okay, so I'm going to go over the answers, and I'm going to stop in the most difficult option or exercise that most of you had problems on. Okay, so most of them traveled there with baguettes and horses. Okay, that's the correct answer for number 1. The Elaine mentions boat and train, but she says that those were expensive means of transport, so most people couldn't afford them. Therefore, they used baguettes and horses that were cheaper. Okay, number 2 was really difficult for some of you. Okay, the answer was 1 room, but in the audio she says that one room was used as bedroom, kitchen, dinner room, and so on and so forth. So maybe that's why you got confused and you thought that there were 5 rooms, but no, just 1 room that was used as different rooms. Okay, number 3, they used to travel to a store to buy food about twice a year, because remember, they grow vegetables and also they had farms with animals, so if they wanted meat, they could kill an animal and eat meat. Okay, so they didn't used to have much entertainment because they had to work a lot. And according to Lane, they used to love reading, okay? So again, it was really great activity. Only number 2, you had some problems, but the rest was really okay. Now let's move on to the writing section, okay? The writing section. Your articles were really good. They were really well structured and they were really informative, okay? Some of you talked about Chile and some of you talked about other countries, which I thought was interesting. So thank you very much for presenting those topics to me and to Miss Anita, okay? There were some problems, mainly with 2 things that I'm going to tell you right now. So the first thing is the word people, okay? People means personas en plural, ¿cierto? Okay. When you use the word people, you don't need to add the article, okay? Cuando están ocupando la palabra people, no tienen por qué agregar el article de, okay? Pueden decir, people used to live, people went to school, people played football, okay? You don't need the article, okay? But if you want to talk about a specific group of people, that's where you can use the article. For example, people in Chile didn't used to go shopping. Now, if you want to talk about the specific people of Santiago, you say the people of Santiago didn't used to go shopping, okay? So that's the difference. When you're talking about people in general, people lived, people went, people played, people read or read, okay? Just use people. But if you want to talk about a specific group of people, okay, that's where you can add the people of Santiago, the people of the school, okay? But most of the time you don't need that, okay? And the second thing is it is about punctuation, okay? About commas and periods. Periods are puntos, bien? In English, we don't use as many commas as we do in Spanish. The thing that we use the most in English is periods, okay? En inglés no ocupamos tantas comas como en español. Ocupamos más los puntos seguidos, bien? So when you have a phrase, you often end the phrase with a period. For example, people used to live in the countryside, period, okay? Entonces, cuando escribimos en inglés, las frases son súper cortas y son terminadas por un punto y rara vez tenemos una coma, bien? Por ejemplo, las personas solían trabajar en el campo o vivir en el campo, punto. They used to eat a lot of meat. Ellos solían comer mucha carne, period, ¿ok? O por ejemplo, when I was young, cuando yo era joven, ahí podemos poner una coma, when I was young, coma, I used to watch TV, y después period, ¿ok? Ocupamos más los periods, que son los puntos, que las comas en inglés. Las comas las ocupamos para ciertos usos súper específicos, ¿ya? Como por ejemplo, estas cláusulas de tiempo, when I was young, in the afternoon, in the morning, coma, y después la oración completa, ¿bien? O cuando queremos introducir información extra o describir, ¿ok? We can go over the uses of the commas later, but in English, the thing we use the most is periods, ¿ok? Also, there were some of you that didn't use punctuation at all, so be careful with that. Use punctuation, okay? In this case, periods over commas, okay? But that's it for the writing. It was really great. They were really interesting, and you did a really great job, okay? So thank you very much, and congratulations. Finally, let's move on to the speaking part, okay? We received lots of audios from one section more than the other, okay? De una sección, de un curso más que del otro, okay? And you had really interesting ideas to present, okay? It was really informative, again. It was really interesting to listen to your relative experiences, how life was like 20 or 30 years ago when they were kids in their childhood, okay? And we had some problem with the pronunciation of some words and the pronunciation of the ed endings, okay? Estuvo muy interesante escuchar sus audios, fueron informativos, y fue interesante escuchar la perspectiva de cómo era la vida de sus padres o relatives cuando eran jóvenes, cuando eran niños, pero tuvieron algunos problemas con pronunciation, okay? So first, we're going to go over some words that you need to practice pronunciation pronunciating, and then we're going to cover the ed endings, how to pronounce ed endings. Okay, so one of the words that you had trouble with was the word chores. Okay, chores. That is, I think, okay, chores. This word, chores. Okay, chores, chores. Okay, that's the correct way of pronunciating that word. Also, kind of. That phrase, kind of, kind of. Okay. Remember that in English we connect the sounds, but that doesn't mean you need to like put them all together and like forget the boundaries of the sound. So kind of, connected but not together. Okay. And then we have society. Again, society. Okay, that's the correct way of pronouncing that word. Okay, so those were the words that you had trouble with, and now we're going to move to the pronunciation of ed endings. Okay, so ed endings are the words that end with ed. Okay, and we have three ways of pronunciating these endings. Okay, and it depends on the sound that comes before the ed ending. Okay, para pronunciar los finales ed tenemos que fijarnos en el sonido que viene antes de el ed ending. Bien. In English we have two kinds of sounds. En inglés tenemos dos tipos de sonidos. Okay, the voiced sounds and the voiceless sounds. Okay, voice sounds are those sounds that make the vocal cords move and vibrate. Okay, los sonidos voiced son aquellos que hacen que las cuerdas vocales vibren. Por ejemplo, a, b, 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 e, d. Okay, if you put your hand on your neck, you will feel the vibrations when you say a, e, o, or d, b, b, okay? So those are voiced sounds. Voiceless sounds are the sounds that do not make the vocal cords vibrate. For example, the sound S. No vibration. Also the sound T. 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 No vibration, okay? So, if the ed ending, the sound before the ed ending is voiced, for example, play, the ed ending is pronounced like a D, played, played, played. If the sound before the ed ending is voiceless, for example, P, no vibration, the ed ending is pronounced like a T. So helped, helped, helped. And if the final sound before the ed ending is either a D or a T, the ed ending is pronounced id. Decided, wanted. Okay? Again, now in Spanish. Cuando el sonido que viene antes del ed es voiced, o sea, las cuerdas vocales vibran, se pronuncia el ed como una D, played. Si el sonido que viene antes del ed es un sonido voiceless, que no hace que las cuerdas vocales vibren, se pronuncia como una T, helped, helped. Y si el sonido final antes del ed es una D o una T, el ed ending se pronuncia como id, decided and wanted. Okay? So, practice this at your home with these words, or you can look for more words with ed endings, see how they are pronounced without the ed ending, and then try to add the correct ed ending. Okay? And I think that's all for this session. Again, we were really happy with your results, with your answers, with your articles. Okay, so thank you very much for sending those, and I hope to see you in this week's Zoom session and in the next video. Okay, so take care and see you when I see you again. Bye.